organizing this information session. I think this is a very vital one. Even though there are discussions about this should be organized somewhere mid of next month, but getting it early, that would be really fantastic. Before we looking at this research documents on behalf of the president and the council as a council member, also this committee chair for this education research and education research and development, I want to say that there is a clear intent behind this whole exercise. So as we know, one of the global the phenomenon factors is that there are about 1.8 million plus articles are published in a year, but there are a lot of debates on about how many of them are really read and cite. So without getting into that sort of argument, as a professional body, so CPM has been debating about this, like what is our contribution by looking at particularly the post the Easter attack time to looking at the COVID transition period, or as well as so we are now experiencing the latter part of COVID transition. We can't still say post-COVID, but if you look at last 2-3 years, so there are a lot of aspects happening in line with so those dimensions. So that what we can do. So we got a couple of members and the general public views of getting into the landscape of let's get these good insights, like insightful practices, which companies have done that, which the industries have done that. So as a integrated professional body, CPM has the implicit responsibility of creating a platform for those personnel to come forward and showcase their presentations or rather research findings. With that, we can do some value addition to the country in a larger scale. So that's the intent. So with that, may I invite to be focused within my next few minutes. I'm going to touch upon just to reiterate of these areas as per the document. Then let me invite my colleague, Mr. Gayan Gunawardana, who is heading the technical committee, to explain the rest of the areas. And of course, we can take up a couple of questions after the introduction. Mr. Dilshan, can you take that main document? Yeah, so I'm sure you have seen this document. Excuse me. So what we are going to do, we are going to look at to highlight a couple of factors which are in line with the same document. So as I explained, while looking at, there are multiple, say, insights are being discussed at the moment at the country in terms of way forward, the transformation or enhancement, resilience, turnaround, getting into the next level, so that the multiple sentiments have been discussed. So in that sense, the CPM Council has decided for this year to come out with this year management research, this management research symposium, the forum, as the theme under this, we are achieving business and institutional growth through insightful research. So we want to get that research in place, but at the same time, businesses and institutional growth. So when you are looking at, as I said at the inception, CPM has a kind of a unique factor here where all the management professions can come on board, and it's a integrative, I would call it as integrative platform where all the institutes, like whether you are an accountant or that means you are in the finance or engineering, IT, HR, marketing, irrespective of your background, you can come forward and say work around, rally around, and do something in that platform. So therefore, we have, I would call, implicit responsibility of creating that platform. That's what we have used, but particularly we have highlighted the word called business or the government, not even the non-profit organizations, where they can share their research insights for the betterment of the revival, the growth prospects for the country. So that's the overall idea. So with that, let me, from that scope, let me go to some of the other details which we have highlighted here. Here you can see that when you are looking at, we had a deliberation of looking at how we should line up this. So friends, here we have looked at two major categories. So where the corporate industry case studies, it's a company or a section or a cluster which is related to a transformation story or a revival story, or kind of a transformational story of an organization or a SBU, a strategic business unit, or even any government sector organization where if they have done something which is having a solid conceptual backing, research backing, the understanding of the application, the management, the theories or knowledge basis has been taken into account of such transformation, such revival. So that's the one category. The second category is that even though we are not getting into this debate, if you look at research, the word research for the betterment, research of replication, exploring new insights. But if you look at research broadly from a social research angle, as well as industry research angle, sometimes this debate is there. For an example, are social researchers really contributing to the problem solving? But as we know that here the general psyche is that social research is not for solving the problems. Instead, getting out of those insights, getting out of those implications, managerial, social implications. So that is where social research coming in. But what about the industry research? That is where this consultancy, entrepreneurship, getting into doing action, skills. So that is where the applied research aspects coming up, because they are all problem solving related actions. So in that sense, we are inviting companies, organizations to come out with and showcase what exactly, say, a powerful management application or a concept that you have applied and that has given results, given a way forward, given kind of a new application practices to the industry. So that's why we have given specifically during last 3 years. So then here, those are the two broad categories. With that, friends, of course, who can come on board? The scholars, practitioners who are representing diverse organizations. It can be your industry case, it can be your corporate case, so that, as I said, representing any of these organization-specific cases where, look, even 2 or 3 members get together, let's write our story, because we have done something special. So that knowledge should be shared, that knowledge should be taken out. I think that is for the betterment of the industry, that is betterment for other industries to apply in years to come. So that is where this is opening up. So friends, here, those who are like-minded in that category, of course, come forward, and we invite them to come out with papers, not having the general psyche of, no, this is purely a social research, rigorous research, the writing, and not for us. No, that is not the category here. Category is that if you see that there's a clear case in an organization, in a business cluster, which you have identified, get that, put it to a perspective which you have given a format, and come forward and present it and showcase. So because we have done it quite differently, so that's what I want to highlight next. So with that, Mr. Dishan, please take the next page. So here, I think many inquiries have been made. Look, when you are looking at the subject dimensions, we had a challenge of articulating all the areas, so that this is not an exhaustive list. So we have articulated some of the broadly and mainly use areas, so that in terms of your thinking, your story, your idea should not be confined to this, because CPM has, from its implicit the constitutional meaning itself, the organization nature itself, it's opening for the management development in any sphere. So therefore, don't confine to these topics. If any area that is coming up in area where there's a management application, there's a management concept, there's a management related story, please bring it forward, and its topics are open for you to apply. So that's why we have clearly mentioned that you can see that topics of interest for submission include but are not limited to. So that word should be highlighted. Right. So with that, let me move to the next page, page 4. Now here, friends, CPM wanted to do something with a little bit difference here. Of course, we are inviting you to submit your initial submissions called paper submissions. Once it is done, what we are going to do based on the standard blind review practicing. So what we are going to do by taking an expert panel, so carefully selected panel, they don't know that from where this paper comes. So it is only in a centralized system of secretariat. In this conference, secretary is Mr. Dilshan. So that getting these papers, putting into that blind review process, and we are going to select 25 papers based on that 2 or 3 expert members marking, which will explain. Based on that marking, we are going to select 25 under the category 1 as well as 25 under the category 2. So that means those top rated, rank or listed, based on the average marks, we get the top averages. Those 25 under each category will be selected. We can say that shortlisting in the first round. Once it is done, now we have 25 top place. Now you can see that in the second round, out of that 25, those who have scored top 10 according to the alphabetical order of their names, not according to the 10-9, but after getting that list of 10, the top 10. So we have 25. Out of them, top 10 will be invited to make a presentation. So it's a 10 minutes presentation plus 10 minutes Q&A in front of a panel. So that can be organized within the current circumstances on a virtual mode, where you will be present in that. The panel would be a range of professionals who are in the panel, nearly about, let's say, between 5 to 10 members are evaluating in an Olympic system of independently marking. They would be asking questions, but they independently give their marks based on the given criteria. So the criteria also has been given, so that out of those top, what is happening technically, the best five will be selected. So then what we want to do that under each category, the best 5 of the category 1 as well as category 2, we want to invite them to showcase their research insights at the forum on 15th December. In that, the details will be notified soon by the Secretariat. So we want to showcase. The idea here is that the inviting professionals to come forward and tell their story, which is a profound, deep story, important story, and through that story, that findings are very useful for others to practice, others to follow, others to use it and get that into a showcasing. So we are going to create that kind of a platform. So with that, the lineup, Mr. Dishan, please go to the next slide. Please, yeah. So with that, you can see that we want to make it very clear under the this initial submission. You can see, if I read it out, even though you can see it, we have opened now participants to send the papers containing 2,500 to 3,000 words, including including abstract and executive summary, so that excluding appendices and references electronically, electronically. So the email attached or the CD, MS Word format. So the fonts are being given. And if you look at the order, paper format is that, of course, when it comes to that maximum 3,000 words, the abstract executive summary. Why it is called abstract? Because sometimes some research papers, even though they are action research, industry research, they are like in a research form, whereas this case studies, things like consultancy report, things like field studies, things like skills type of papers, things like policy documents, they are all having executive summary. So that you can cover 300 words, but within the, you can play the maximum 5 keywords. But if you look at number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a vital part, friends. Now here, very clearly, you need to organize your that 3,000 words, excluding that executive summary or the abstract. Very important. Clearly tell that what is your research or the study background or the problem and the objectives. The clarity of the context, the company issue is very vital. So you should not, I'm sure you will not use your entire word count for that. It should be very precise and clearly articulate research study or the background. What is this problem? What are the objectives? So that once someone read, because our marking scheme, which you can see later, is based on purely under these headings. So that whoever the blind reviewer, the professional or the expert who is reviewing, they can't search and mark, because through our years of experience as a reviewer in multiple research forums, I want to tell you that in most cases, sometimes we have to search where it is objective, where is this problem, where is this research question, where is that methodology, because they are all over. Even though the respective conference or the relevant organizers have stress or articulated, look, present your papers under these headings, but still sometimes researchers have demonstrated very loosely or less rigor in terms of showing the say that follow-up of discipline areas, the format. So here we would invite you to look at very precisely after the first one, the executive summary. So one should be able to clearly understand what is this research study, or what is this background, what is this problem or objectives, that should be there. So with that, friends, here, even though it is industry research, some degree of, some depth of literature should be appreciated. Now that is where the knowledge base is tested. That is where the conceptual clarity comes, or theoretical support, knowledge basis, theoretical foundation. So we have used all these synonymous words because the literature review means it's not like a 6-7 pages work. It can be like within those 3,000 words, might be half a page or quarter page or 1 page. The area of literature, that is, we want to look at that, whether this presenter, the person who is coming out with this case or a particular story in terms of the practice, whether the person has clearly articulated the knowledge base, highlighted the knowledge base, conceptual clarity. So for that, the literature review part is very vital under that heading. Then number 4, of course, clearly, precisely within 1 or 2 paragraphs, what is your methodology, appropriateness of the methodology, the method, the sample, approach, etc. should be highlighted. So one should be able to understand what is this method this researcher has adopted here, right? I'm sure you will not write pages. It's like a 1 or 2 paragraphs. So then number 5 is all about, okay, so from your given context, from given scenario, based on that knowledge base, using this method, what is the findings? So the key findings and the analysis. That is where you can show the findings and analysis come in multiple ways. Like, since they are all industry research, friends, it's about results or output, that is very quantitative form, outcomes, which is qualitative, or results presented clearly and analyzed appropriately. That should come very clearly that, so this is what the result this is what the output, this is what the outcome. So this is the kind of a result generated in this context. This is the kind of the finding, the transformation, revival, moving from point A to B is there. So that is number 5. And finally, of course, where from your study, if you can highlight within your last, say, the 1 or 2 paragraphs, the implications. What are the managerial implications of this kind of research, or the practical implications or social implications? That is the vital part. That can be taken for others to follow. They can cross-check. They can laterally look at that, what we are doing versus what they have done. Okay, are there any insights for us to apply? So that aspect also can be taken into account. So the idea, friends, what I have briefed up to this point thus far, as overall, so the CPM as a national body for management development, so we have a role to play, that integrative role. So we have the background, we have the setting. Now it's time for us to come out with that. So national level, we want to support this process. We want to get these researchers showcased, and of course they have been awarded and given some clear recognition for them, and should not allow your vital research findings unnoticed. So we are here to get that platform ready for your time is to come forward and embrace in both hands and take it forward. So with that, may I hand over the control back to the Director CPM, Mr. Dilshan, before inviting Mr. Gunawardhan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samantha, for your comprehensive explanation. And I also give a gentle reminder to our audience. You may send your questions via chat box. Then our panel is prepared to answer. So with that, next I would invite Mr. Gayan Gunawardena to explain technical guidelines in terms of this forum. Over to you, Mr. Gayan.
Thank you, Dilshan. I think Dr. Samantha has briefed almost all the important areas of the event. So with that, let me to quickly go through the technical things of the research papers that we are expecting from you by taking a few minutes, and then we can keep the remaining time for you, take your questions and help you with the answers. And as Dr. Samantha also clearly mentioned, this is not a large amount of work, more than to the quantity. CPM is expecting the quality of the work. And as we all know, the businesses, the organizations, all of them are trying to be the leaders of the industry. So this is the good opportunity that CPM have created the platform. So you can come forward and use this opportunity. And before forget, I must request from all of you to contact our CPM office and get this document. Most of you may be already having this. At the end of the session, our director will give you the details how you can contact. So you can get this document and go through. And this is including almost all the information what it will be needed to submit the paper. I'll brief the key points. As Dr. Samantha mentioned, the size we'll be limiting it to 2,500 to 3,000 words. That is a single space. You can use A4 sheets, and the Word document you have to submit. And we are expecting that Word document to be Microsoft Word 2000 or a new version after that, because it will be easy to process the rest of the part of the Word. So that is important. Word, Microsoft Word 2000 after that version. 3000 is the length of the thing. A4 papers you can use with a single space. Then author name, designation, and affiliation, you can put those information. with regard to the font, we are a little flexible here. In addition to the traditional Times New Roman, our research team have decided to give the researchers the benefit of using Arial and Calgary as well, the new fonts. So you can use either one of the fonts with the font size of 12. So I think some of you will like this because the readability is good of these new fonts. And as any of other submissions, you have to highlight the headings and subheadings. You can bold that. The margins, we are expecting 1 inch from either side, top, bottom, left and right, so that you have to keep the margins. Tables, figures, and illustrations. There's another request in that area where you have to use the full page width when you are using a table, and you can explain the table inside your text. Then any additional documents, you can use it as a appendice in addition to what you are using for the submission. The reference, specifically, we have limited it to APA style, American Psychological Association style, because as you all know, we are going to publish this as a document in our website. So we have to maintain a kind of equality in all papers. So that's why we have giving only one option there. Dilshan, if you can go to the next page, please. Yeah. Now, this is what Dr. Samantha also touched, the marking criteria, what we are going to use for the shortlisting of the papers. You can see here 40 marks. The most weighted area is the key findings and analysis area. So then the other sections, research study background, you get 10, getting 10 marks for that. Literature review, another 10 marks. Methodology, another 10 marks. Implication, 20 marks, and now of the paper, another 10 marks. So you can use this as a guideline to proportionate to 3,000 words as well, I think, because you can see where the most of the marks are coming and how it is going to be happen. And same framework we will be using for the presentation review as well. If you can go to the next page, Dilshan. Yeah, now this is the presentation after submitting the papers, and after top 25 papers from each category is shortlisted. So you will be invited for the presentations, which will be 20 minutes per paper, where 10 minutes for the presentation and another 10 minutes for the Q&A. And the presenters have to share that 10 minutes time. There are more presenters like 2 or 3, then they have to share that 10 minutes within themselves, and all of them have to present. Dress code is office attire. Then CPM specifically, they will be limiting the presentations to the allocated time. And that is also important. And the presentations also, like I said previously, it will be reviewed based on the same criteria, the same marking categories. Research, 10 marks again, literature review, methodology, findings, analysis part, implications, and the effectiveness of the paper. So this is the kind of the evaluation process we are going to proceed with. Dilshan, if you can go to the next page. So on the forum day, like as Dr. Samantha also explained, the best 5 papers from each category, like 25 is shortlisting, then we are selecting 10 from each section, 25 will reduce to 10, then out of that 10, the top 5 from each category will be directed to the forum day presentations, and the 25 selected papers will be getting commendation certificates. Then the 10 papers from each category will get the merit award certificates, and the top 5 who are there on the forum day, they are the ones who will be getting certificates and medals, special awards and the medals. So that is how we are going to award. Then the deadlines already we have launched the event. So the rolling of the papers already now started that section. Now we are at the second area where until end of next month you have the time to submissions. Then paper acceptance notification at the middle of November. Registration deadline 25th, and presentations will be proceeding in early December. The final day will be the 15th of December. So that's how we have lined up the work within next 2 months. And there's an email address, event@cpmsrilanka.org, that you can use for the all correspondences where CPM office will respond to you with regard to all matters. I think those are the main things that I want to highlight. And as I already mentioned, it will be a e-version electronically available at CPM website. So these selected papers will be published there. And the rest of things are administrative work, the registration fee and the bank account details, what you can use. And I think those are the important things. Right. I think I'll stop there. Then you will have time for the Q&As. I'll pass you back, Director. So, Dilshan, you can proceed with the next section. Dilshan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gahan, for the explanations. With that, I invite resource panel, because I received a question from one of our participants. Mentioned, do we need to apply to our current company or as an individual researcher? So any of you can answer to that.
So here, of course, unit of analysis is the organization, but when you are applying, it's all it's individual cases. So some can come as the 3-member, 2-member, in like a single member, but the unit of analysis, the case, so the story is attached to organization. So there is no harm. Mr. Gayan, am I right? We are in that line.
Yeah, Doctor. Most importantly, they have to specifically select the criteria that they're submitting. So,
yeah.
Whether it's coming under corporate case studies or the applied section. So once they decided that and register for that, then thereafter they can proceed under their name.
Yeah.
All right, audience, if there's any more questions, you can quickly inbox to the chat box before we wrap up this info session. Also, I would like to invite Dr. Samantha to give a brief of the highlights, because I have seen some latecomers. So for their information, I invite give a very brief explanation about these forums.
Okay, so thank you. Now, in essence, as a professional body, what we have said thus far, there is a clear need in the country. On one hand, the futuristic, on the other hand, appreciating last 2-3 years of the resilience of companies, of revival, transformation, the changing of the business into the next level. So in such circumstances, the CPM as a integrative management body has come forward to get this their research, their applied research findings to be showcased. For that purpose, so as per the document, as technical head Mr. Gunawardena said, the document has articulated all the areas, but in terms of the key highlight is that within 2,500 to 3,000 words, you need to get this your story with the abstract targeting about 300 words. Then get your problem clearly, get your literature area, look at your approach and what findings coming up and the implications. So you can see that this given format is equivalent to the marking criteria also. So therefore, as technical head clearly said, what we are going to do, we are going to get under two categories. One is the category one where company cases and so on. The other one is the industry research category. So both are taken into account, and taking these initial submissions will be shortlisted based on those criteria by an expert panel of 25 each. So 25. So if you have come on board to the 25, that means you are entitled for the participation, and then going for a special certificate. And out of that, based on the top 10 marks of the average given by the respective blind reviewers, the top 10 would be invited for the presentation of 10 means plus 10 means. So out of them, 5 would be getting the merit, other 5 would be say getting a special opportunity to showcase at the forum day, that is on December 15. So on that day, they can showcase. So we can invite other industry players to come and listen to your research, your findings. So therefore, so this is not like just in a conventional, traditional way of presenting in isolation. While looking at those research are also important, but here we are looking far more deeper impact of getting you into the clear, say, showcasing of your areas, which can be applied by the other organizations. So that's the essence. So then technical head has clearly shown that the process, the areas, the format, the fonts and so on, so which you can look at. I think that is the essence, Mr. Dirshan, in overall.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your better explanation. Now we have a few questions from the audience. So may I ask that one participant is raising the question, do we need to apply through our current company or as an individual researcher?
In this case, individual researching, it is like because your unit of analysis is a challenge, because it is not just a social research case won't work in this case. That because it is not like, say for an example, looking at performance and motivation and performance, rewards and satisfaction, kind of just a simple social research won't work in this case. Here, looking at industry specific, problem specific, company specific, sector specific, there should be a clear problem. So unit of analysis is a more or less organization, whether profit, non-profit. So that means organization. Then I can see that in the same line, this I think two people have asked this question. It's a company specific study, sensitive data, and the sensitive data in other place. So we want to tell you that probably Mr. Gunadhan also can add. In this case, if it is a company specific case, if they are not giving permission, of course you can't come forward, because if you have been selected for the first five, because those who are coming to the 25, out of that, if you make that presentation, if you have been selected to the top 5, one can't say that, look, I can't make this presentation, we can't showcase this. So that means our purpose is to create a platform for industries to come in. These are not trade secrets, these are all problem solving, as Mr. Gayan said, a clear criterion or criteria related applications. So if there are sensitive data and the company is not giving the permission, in that sense, we can't allow. Am I right, Mr. Gunadhan?
Yeah, Dr. Now, that is one of the things that even now within our committee members, we discussed most of the times about this thing. The thing is, even the researcher not declaring the name of the company, still when we see the person, there can be people who know them, and then automatically the company also. Now, if you take, if I am presenting, so even if I not presenting the company, you know my company. So like that, those things can be happen. So best thing is, in that case, what we recommend you to think about, since you know the case, so you can go it as a applied category as a take the case out and you can submit the case under appellate category rather submitting it under corporate category. That's what we think it should be best.
Yeah, even so here this the names we need to come out with the specific company name, Mr. Deshan.
Yeah, one or a couple of attendees are asking that similar question, whether they should mention their company names. So that's what they are concerned.
Yeah, the point is this. Point is this is a forum where now all over the world, if you look at internationally, some in other countries, I have witnessed that I have sat in those review committees. The scenario is respective industries come and tell their story of transformation, not necessarily a COVID or such cases, but based on that, here, like others are eagerly come and like listening to that and see, oh, what we can learn out of that. This is good for our industry. So this is how we should each one teach one, each one learning from others, so that you have your strategies, your practices, the company practices there. But here you are taking a one knowledge base and develop that and showcase. So that's how we take this. I think Mr. Basir has raised the hand.
Yeah, we welcome Mr. Bashir, the Honorary Treasurer of the CPM Sri Lanka Governing Council. Sir, if you need to add more anything, you are.
No, Dr. Dilshan and Samandar and Dilshan, no, I think what Doctor mentioned, what I quite agree with you. What I I had accidentally touched that button. So it not intention, but I agree with you, Dr. Samandar.
Oh,
in fact, I have made it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, because I'm just like asking the technical lead, Mr. Gunadana, if a company is not giving the name, if they are not confident to come and tell that the story, so then if it is hiding, it is a mere academic or assignment exercise.
Yeah, that is also true. On the other hand, Doctor, what we see as a committee when we discuss this thing, now we are thinking of disclosing this information and all, but think about if the presenter win the competition, if they're winning, and that goodwill also go to the company, because it will be explained how successful they handle the situation.
Yeah.
So we have to take it positively, and even you can explain to your management. It depends on confidence. If it wins, if we are among if you can be the first winner, second place, third place, then that privilege automatically will be tagged to the company as well. So that also you have to be think about.
Adding a point to what Mr. Gunawardena said, on my professional engagement, where we have produced a case study book for an example. In such circumstances, we saw that those companies are very clearly highlighted, look, go for this. So they have given the permission without any hesitation. That's one. Mr. Dilshan, now after getting exposed of this kind of initiative, some companies say, why don't you send someone to like study in our company and tell this story to the world, because we want to tell this story to the society. Look, you have come out with such a fantastic idea. It's high time for us to tell others what we are doing. Of course, others can either use it or like appropriately take it. So therefore, one or two cases might be that companies don't like to disclose, can't tell. But here, this is for open up co-opetition, not a competition, but co-opetition, getting into a wide opening for the betterment of the larger society.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much. I think we are above the time. So if there's no any more questions, we can wrap up this session.
Quick point, Mr. Deshan, like sometimes in companies where 2 members, even 3 members can get together and develop their story.
Right. I hope the audience is having a clear picture about this forum. And with that, I am thanking our resource panel who are giving in-depth overview of this forum. And also a special notice to the audience. You could refer all related details from our website, which is www.cpmsrilanka.org, or contact our office via 2590995, or we have a mobile numbers, and a dedicated mobile number is there, note 7 note 659 note
Dilshan,
995.
Dilshan, if you can show that last page where I think the whole contact details are there on the document last page.
Yes, the details I hope you can see. Even you can contact, or you could refer the website. We are more happy to assist to you. So before we conclude this session, it is my duty to express our sincere thanks to our panel here today, Dr. Samantha Ratnayaka and Mr. Gayan Gunawardena, for their valuable contribution. I would also thank the founder and the president of CPM Sri Lanka, Professor Lakshman Watawala, and the governing council members, especially Mr. Bashir Ismail, who is presenting here today, for their valuable blessings and the guidance. So while wishing you all a pleasant evening, we are signing off from the Secretariat of CPM Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much.